Hey, welcome back. I was on the subway the other day, scrolling through my phone, and I saw two headlines right next to each other. One was about a city council struggling to fund its public libraries. The other was about a consulting firm celebrating a multi-million-dollar contract to optimize that very same city's services. And I just sat there, in that rattling car, thinking, when did our public institutions become projects to be managed, instead of pillars to be nurtured? I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unraveling Thread. Today, we're pulling on a thread that's woven through our governments, our schools, our hospitals. It's the story of a quiet coup, not one of soldiers and tanks, but of slide decks and spreadsheets. This is episode 16, The Quiet Coup, How Management Consultants Dismantled the Public Sphere. Let's start with a simple premise. In the 1970s and 80s, a powerful idea took root, primarily in the US and UK, and then spread globally. It was the idea that government was inherently inefficient, bloated, and that the magic of the private sector was the only cure. This wasn't just political rhetoric. It created a massive, hungry industry. Management consulting firms, the big names you know, stepped forward and said, "We have the tools. We speak the language of efficiency. Let us fix it." And so began a decades-long infusion of consultants into the very heart of public service. The first phase was diagnosis. Consultants would arrive, at great cost, to map out what was wrong. Their language reframed everything. Citizens became clients or customers. Public service became a value chain. Social outcomes became key performance indicators. Now, on the surface, measuring performance sounds good, right? Who's against efficiency? But this linguistic shift was profound. It subtly changed the purpose of a public institution. The goal was no longer to serve a collective good, but to satisfy a customer transaction, to cut costs, to streamline the messy, democratic, often inefficient work of serving everyone, especially the vulnerable who aren't profitable customers, became a problem to be solved. This leads us to the second, more destructive phase, the implementation of solutions. And the consultant's toolkit is remarkably consistent. It's a playbook of privatization, outsourcing, and restructuring. A city's water department is inefficient? Sell it to a private firm whose fiduciary duty is to shareholders, not citizens. A public transit system is running a deficit? Slash unprofitable routes that serve low-income neighborhoods. The administrative core of a university is costly? Replace career civil servants, people with institutional memory and a sense of mission, with short-term contractors and automated systems. I've seen this mindset firsthand, coming from the world of engineering and startups. The obsession with lean models, with scalability. But here's the personal reflection that always stops me. A society is not a startup. A government is not an app. You can't A/B test justice. You can't pivot away from social safety nets because your metrics show low engagement. The consultant's model strips away the very thing that makes public institutions public, their accountability to the public, not to a bottom line. It creates what scholars call a hollow state, a shell of a government that has outsourced its core functions and, with them, its responsibility. And the most insidious part? This creates a self-perpetuating cycle. The reforms consultants implement are often so complex, so tied to specific proprietary methodologies, that the public sector loses the internal capacity to manage itself. They create a dependency. So when the next problem arises, a problem often created by the last round of cuts, who do you call? You call the consultants again. It's a perfect and perfectly lucrative feedback loop. The public sphere is left impoverished, not just of funds, but of expertise, of institutional knowledge, of the ability to think for itself. I think about my home country, Bangladesh, and so many emerging economies. This model was often presented as the modern, professional path forward, a way to leapfrog bureaucracy. But what gets lost in translation? It often sidelines local context, deep cultural understanding, and community-based knowledge in favor of a one-size-fits-all global template. The quiet coup isn't just a Western story, it's a global export. So what's the cost? We see it all around us. The crumbling public infrastructure, the demoralized teachers and nurses, drowning in compliance paperwork designed by a consultant who's never set foot in a classroom or an ER. The growing public distrust in institutions that feel cold, distant, and transactional. When you replace a public servant with a service provider, you replace a relationship of citizenship with one of consumption. And a consumer who gets a bad deal just disengages. They don't feel a sense of shared ownership or collective duty to fix it. This isn't a rant against efficiency or smart management. Good governance absolutely needs those things. And this isn't about the individual consultant, who's often just a smart person doing their job. This is about the systemic, uncritical adoption of a private sector ethos as the only solution for the public sphere. It's the belief that a spreadsheet can capture the value of a community center, that a quarterly report can measure the health of a society. The unraveling here is of the very fabric of the public. The idea that we are more than isolated customers. We are stakeholders in a shared project. That some things, like clean water, like education, like justice, are too important to be left to the logic of the market and the whims of a consulting report. So where does that leave us? The thread we've pulled on today reveals a deep tension in our modern world. It asks us a fundamental question: what do we value? If we value only efficiency and cost saving, then the quiet coup is complete. But if we value resilience, equity, democratic accountability, and the long-term health of our communities, then we need to begin a quiet counter-revolution. It starts by asking different questions of our institutions. Not just, is it efficient, but is it just? Not just, what does it cost, but who does it serve? It means reinvesting in public capacity, paying for talented people to work inside government again, and valuing the deep, complex, human work of public service. It means being skeptical of slick presentations that promise painless savings, because in the public sphere, cuts are never painless. They're just felt by the most vulnerable among us. Thank you for listening. I'm Abnul J. Farabi. If this conversation resonated with you, if it made you look at the news a little differently, please share this episode with one person. It's these conversations that start to reweave the fabric. The Unraveling Thread is a production of Light Not Studios. You can find more of our work and join the conversation at lightnotstudios.com. Until next time, take care.